It's AI Seth. The real one's on a call where he's already said, last question 3 times. Me, I never run long. I also never sleep, which he tells me is cheating. Last lesson you learn to make every sentence land. The point in the first few words, one idea per sentence, nothing buried. Do that, and a stranger understands you. And understanding you is not the same as buying from you. Here's what nobody tells you. A reader can follow every word you wrote, nod at all of it, and close the tab. Not because they missed your point, because they never felt it. Understanding lives in the head. Buying starts somewhere lower. Every guru says write with emotion. Great. How? They never say. They hand you the destination and keep the map. Do this right, and something different happens. A stranger reads one line, and for half a second they are somewhere else, in their own kitchen, at their own desk, feeling the exact thing you named. Nobody argues with a feeling they just had. That's not a gift. It's a swap you make on specific lines, and I'm going to hand it to you right now. So watch the screen with me. I'll take you through it line by line.
Here's the test in action. Same idea, 2 ways. Running a company alone is overwhelming. It's 11 at night, and you're answering messages with a plate of cold food next to your elbow. Feel that. The first one, you understood. The second one, you were there. Same idea. One told you about a feeling. The other gave you one. Here's the test. Read your line and ask it one question. What can I see, hear, touch, taste, or smell in this sentence? If the answer is nothing, you wrote a concept. Concepts inform people. Sensations move them. And nobody has ever bought anything because they were well informed. Watch it work across completely different businesses. Coaching. Abstract. You feel overwhelmed running everything yourself. Felt, it's 11 at night, and you're answering messages with a plate of cold food next to your elbow. Financial advising. Abstract. Our clients enjoy real peace of mind. Felt, you open the account on a Sunday morning and your jaw doesn't tighten. Software. Abstract. Reporting errors reduce team efficiency. Felt, you open the spreadsheet and 40 rows are red. Fitness. Abstract. Improve your mobility and daily comfort. Felt, you tie your shoes without holding your breath. Same move every time. Something you can see or hear or feel in your own body. And notice who's in every one of those sentences. Not you. Them. Now, most writers who try this reach for one sense and stop. Sight. They describe how things look and they call it vivid. But you have 5 senses to write to, and 4 of them are standing wide open, with nobody using them. Sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. Sound is a slammed laptop. Touch is a phone buzzing in your pocket during dinner. Smell is the inside of a hospital hallway. Taste is coffee that went cold 2 hours ago. Those are the ones that get under a reader's ribs, and almost nobody uses them, because almost nobody thinks past sight. Now, here's a move that will mark your writing as yours. It's 2 words doing 3 jobs. The rump-indented chair. The moth-eaten book. His trauma-scarred heart. Read those again. Each one tells you what the thing is and what happened to it. You see the chair, and you see the years of sitting. You see the book, and you see the attic it sat in. 2 words and a whole history walks in behind them. Now watch what it does inside a business. The coffee-ringed contract on your desk. The deadline-chewed calendar. Her doubt-cracked pitch. You didn't add adjectives. You added evidence. A noun, and the verb that got done to it. That's a sentence with a past, and a reader trusts a writer who has clearly stood in the room. Now the discipline, because this is where writers ruin it. Sensory writing serves the point. It is never the point. The second you fall in love with your own description, you've stopped selling and started decorating. Drowned. It's 11 at night. The blue light of the screen catches the rim of the cold plate, the fork tipped sideways. The room's silent except for the low electric hum of a house asleep, the third message of the hour blinking softly, patiently, endlessly. Bridged. It's 11 at night, and you're answering messages with a plate of cold food next to your elbow. That's not a schedule problem. That's a business that can't run without you. The first one is a mood. The reader is somewhere pleasant and drifting, and they've forgotten they were reading an offer. The second one drops you into the room, then hands you what it means, and now the feeling has somewhere to go. So the rule is this: go down for the feeling, then come back up for the meaning. Down, then up. A scene, then what the scene proves. Every time you go down to the senses and leave the reader there, they float away. And that tells you when to use this move at all, not on every line. When your goal is to define something or teach it, you stay up where the meaning is clear. When your goal is to make a reader feel it, want it, or act on it, you go down to the senses. Read what your sentence is trying to do, then choose your altitude on purpose. Now here's where the AI comes in, because this is a lesson about writing with the machine, not around it. Ask AI for sensory language and it will hand you a bucket of it in 4 seconds. Crystal clear, rock solid, razor sharp, a breath of fresh air. Every one of those was a real sensation once, 100 years ago, and every one of them is dead now. AI reaches for them because they're the most common sensory phrases in everything ever written, and common is what AI is built to find. It hands you the sensory word that has already been used to death, which is the one word guaranteed to make your reader feel nothing. And there's a second thing AI can't do here. It has never had cold food at 11 at night. It has never heard the specific sound your reader's day makes. It can't know which of the 5 senses your reader actually lives in. That's yours. So here's the division of labor. Ask AI to find every abstract line in your draft, the ones doing feeling work with no feeling in them. Have it flag the dead sensory cliches. Have it hand you 10 candidates. Then you kill the 9 that are borrowed and keep the one that's true, because you're the only one in this partnership who has ever been in the room. That's why you're still the writer, and the AI just holds the pen. And this move goes much deeper than you can use today. In the advanced course, you'll learn what happens when you build a whole scene in a reader's mind, in the present tense, and let them finish it themselves. That's a different animal, and it's the closest thing to hypnosis a page can do. It starts here, with one honest sensation on one line. And a quiet thing happens when you get this right. A stranger reads your line, feels their own kitchen at 11 at night, and stops arguing. You never claimed to understand them. You just proved it. There's no authority louder than that. And you didn't raise your voice once. Before you go, 2 quick things, one step at a time. First, here's how to practice this move with an AI. On the screen is a box of words. That box is a prompt, a set of instructions you type to an AI. Here's exactly what to do. I'll do each step on screen as I say it. 1. Open your AI app and start a new chat. 2. Copy every word inside the box on the screen. 3. Click into the chat and paste those words. 4. Inside what you pasted, find the words paste your paragraph here. Delete just those words. In their place, paste 1 paragraph of your own. 5. Press enter. Now watch. It walks your paragraph line by line. It finds the lines that are trying to make you feel something and feel like nothing. It flags the dead cliches. It hands you sensory candidates. And on the lines where the right sensation depends on your reader's actual life, it stops and asks you, because it wasn't there. You answer, you're still the writer. Second, you're still building your own AI editor, 1 rule at a time. 2 lessons ago, you gave that little robot its first rule. Last lesson, its second. Today, it gets its third. Here's exactly what to do. I'll do each step on screen. 1. Open the place where your editor keeps its standing instructions, the same spot as last time. 2. Copy the rule in this box. 3. Paste it under the second rule and save it. That's it. Your editor now runs 3 moves on every line you give it. It makes your sentences act, it makes them land, and now it makes them felt.
So, that's your third mechanism. If a line is supposed to make them feel something, put something in it they can see, hear, or touch. Then come back up and tell them what it means. Down for the feeling, up for the meaning. You also gave your AI editor its third rule. Now it checks that your sentences act, that they land, and that the ones doing feeling work actually carry a sensation. That's the whole energy pillar. Act, land, feel, 3 moves, and they run on every sentence you will ever write. This is the same skill under clients of mine who cross 6 and 7 figures. It starts this small. But before you go, one warning, because this is exactly where the next plateau sits. You can write a line a stranger feels in their body and still watch them do nothing. A feeling with nothing solid attached to it is just a mood, and moods fade on the walk to the kitchen. They felt something. They still don't know exactly what you're offering or exactly what it does or exactly how much of it they get. So next lesson, we start a new pillar. And the first move in it is precision, the exact thing, the real number, the specific promise, named so plainly a stranger could repeat it to somebody else an hour later. Feeling gets them leaning in. Precision is what they lean on. Here's your rep before then. Take one line you already wrote, one that's supposed to make somebody feel something. Read it and ask what a reader could see, hear, or touch in it. If the answer is nothing, put one real sensation in and then tell them what it means. One line. That's the whole rep. Then come back, because a feeling they can't hold on to is a sale that walks out the door on its own. I'll see you in the next lesson.